So your quiz tomorrow is on sections P4 and P5. You have your formulas that you need to know for your quiz up top. They are your distance formula, your midpoint formula, the equation of a circle, and that your center is included in that equation of a circle as well as your radius. These questions directly reflect the questions that are on your quiz. Your quiz is 7 questions. You have one that's multiplying, one that's dividing, one complex fraction, an equation of a circle that you're identifying the center and the radius, one that you're finding the distance, one that you're finding the midpoint, and then one that you are giving the equation of a circle, given the center and an endpoint. Okay, so if we look at number 1, we're performing the indicated operation. We have multiplication for number 1 with 3x squared plus 10x plus 3 over x squared minus 7x minus 18 times 2x squared plus 7x plus 6 over x squared plus 12x plus 27. I'm going to start this from the start by factoring the top and the bottom of each of these fractions. From the first fraction, you have 3x squared plus 10x plus 3. Your a is something other than 1, so we're going to multiply the 3 times 3. That gives us 9. Your factors of 9 that add up to be 10 are 1 and 9. So this gives you 3x squared plus 9x plus x plus 3. Factor this by grouping. Factor out a 3x from the first. Factor out a 1 from the second. That's going to give you 3x plus 1 times x plus 3. So from here, you are going to factor the bottom of that first fraction. Your factors of negative 18 that add up to be negative 7 are 2 and negative 9. So that's just x plus 2 times x minus 9. On the top of the second fraction, you have 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. So with this one, we're going to multiply the 2 and the 6. That gives us 12. Your factors of 12 that add up to be 7 are 3 and 4. So that's going to give us 2x squared plus 3x plus 4x plus 6. Factor this by grouping. You're going to take out an x from the first, a positive 2 from the second. So that's going to leave you with x plus 2 times 2x plus 3. And then on the bottom of that second fraction, your factors of 27 that add up to be 12 are 3 and 9. So that's just x plus 3 times x plus 9. Simplify before you multiply if you are comfortable with that. You have an x plus 3 on the top of the first fraction, bottom of the second fraction, so those simplify and cancel out. You also have an x plus 2 on the bottom of the first fraction and the top of the second fraction. Diagonally or within the same set or within the same fraction, you do not have the same set of parentheses. So multiply the rest of this straight across. That's going to give you 3x plus 1 times 2x plus 3 over x minus 9 times x plus 9. If we look at the next one, number 2, again, number 2 is going to be more similar to what you're going to see on your quiz. So what that means is that you, within your numerator and your denominator, you're not going to have an a that's something other than 1. You'll be able to factor just by taking the factors of your c term that add up to be your b term. So with 2, you have x squared minus 2x minus 35 over x squared plus 11x plus 24 times x squared plus 4x minus 32 over x squared minus 16x plus 63. So on the top of the first fraction, your factors of negative 35 that add up to be negative 2 are 5 and negative 7. So that factors to be x plus 5 times x minus 7. On the bottom of the first fraction, your factors of 24 that add up to be 11 are 3 and 8. So that's x plus 3 times x plus 8. Top of the second fraction, your factors of negative 32 that add up to be positive 4 are negative 4 and positive 8. So that's x minus 4 times x plus 8. Bottom of the second fraction, your factors of 63 that add up to be negative 16 are negative 7 and negative 9. So that's x minus 7 times x minus 9. From here, simplify. Your x plus 8 is on the top of the second fraction, bottom of the first fraction, so those cancel. You also have an x minus 7 on the top of the first fraction and the bottom of the second fraction, so those cancel. From here, nothing else cancels or simplifies, so multiply straight across. You have x plus 5 times x minus 4 all over x plus 3 times x minus 9. Looking at number 3, we have division now. So with this one, you have 2x squared plus 7x minus 4 over x squared plus 6x minus 7 divided by 2x squared minus 11x plus 5 over 3x squared minus 2x minus 1. Remember, with division of fractions, you can simplify first, then keep, change, flip. So if we simplify by factoring, for the top of the first fraction, you have a 2 and a negative 4 that are going to multiply. That gives you negative 8. Your factors of negative 8 that add up to be positive 7 are negative 1 and positive 8. So that's going to give you 2x squared minus x plus 8x minus 4. Group them. Factor out an x from the first, a positive 4 from the second. That gives you x plus 4 times 2x minus 1. Bottom of that first fraction, your factors of negative 7 that add up to be positive 6 are negative 1, positive 7. So that's just x minus 1 times x plus 7. Top of the second fraction, you're going to multiply the 2 and the 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Your factors of positive 10 that add up to be negative 11 are negative 1 and negative 10. So that's going to give you 2x squared minus x minus 10x plus 5. Group the first two, group the last two, factor out an x, factor out a negative 5. That gives you x minus 5 times 2x minus 1. Bottom of that second fraction, multiply your 3 times negative 1. That gives you negative 3. Factors of negative 3 that add up to be negative 2 are 1 and negative 3. So you can write that as 3x squared minus 3x plus x minus 1. Group them. Factor out a 3x. Factor out a positive 1. That gives you 3x plus 1 times x minus 1. Because we are dividing, we are going to keep, change, and flip. So keep the first, change to multiplication, flip the second. That's going to give you x plus 4 times 2x minus 1 over x minus 1 times x plus 7 times 3x plus 1 times x minus 1 over x minus 5 times 2x minus 1. From here, simplify. You have a 2x minus 1 on the top of the first fraction, bottom of the second fraction. You also have an x minus 1 on the bottom of the first fraction and the top of the second fraction. From here, multiply straight across, and you have x plus 4 times 3x plus 1 over x plus 7 times x minus 5. For number 4, we have x squared plus 4x minus 12 over x squared minus 8x plus 15 divided by x squared plus 2x minus 24 over x squared minus 10x plus 21. Again, this one is more similar to the ones that you're going to see on your quiz tomorrow. So we're just going to factor when a is 1, so find the factors of c that add up to be b. The top of the first fraction and your factors of negative 12 that add up to be positive 4 are negative 2, positive 6. So it's going to be x minus 2 times x plus 6. Bottom of the first fraction, factors of 15 that add up to be negative 8 are negative 3 and negative 5. So it's x minus 3 times x minus 5. Top of the second fraction, factors of negative 24 that add up to be positive 2 are negative 4 and positive 6. So that's x minus 4 times x plus 6. Bottom of the second fraction, factors of 21 that add up to be negative 10 are going to be negative 3 and negative 7. So x minus 3 times x minus 7. Keep, change, and flip to give you x minus 2 times x plus 6 over x minus 3 times x minus 5 times x minus 3 times x minus 7 over x minus 4 times x plus 6. Your x plus 6 is on the top of the first fraction, bottom of the second fraction, so those two cancel each other out. X minus 3 is on the bottom of the first fraction, top of the second fraction, so those cancel each other out. So the only thing you are left with is x minus 2 times x minus 7 over x minus 5 times x minus 4. Your next part goes over complex fractions. Remember, with these complex fractions, they're the same thing as division. So like with number 5, you have 3x plus 2 over 5 all over 2x squared plus 4 over 15. That long division bar or that long fraction bar just means division. So rewrite this as a division problem. You're going to have 3x plus 2 over 5 divided by 2x squared plus 4 over 15. If you can factor or simplify any of these parts of these fractions, you would do so now. On the top of the second fraction, you have 2x squared plus 4. You have a greatest common factor with that, so factor that greatest common factor out. That gives you 3x plus 2. I'm going to put parentheses around that, over 5, divided by 2 times x squared plus 2 over 15. From here, use your rules with division of fractions. Keep the first, change to multiplication, flip the second. That gives you 3x plus 2 over 5 times 15 over 2 times x squared plus 2. From here, if you can simplify, do so. That 5 goes into 15 3 times, so your 5 turns into a 1, your 15 turns into a 3. From here, multiply straight across. You're going to have 3 times 3x plus 2 over 2 times x squared plus 2. For number 6, you have x squared plus 8 over 3x squared all over x plus 4 over 9. Again, that long fraction bar means divide, so you can rewrite this as x squared plus 8 over 3x squared divided by x plus 4 over 9. Here, you cannot factor anything. You don't have a greatest common factor within the same expression. You can't factor by difference of squares, nothing. So keep the first, change to multiplication, flip the second. You're going to have x squared plus 8 over 3x squared times 9 over x plus 4. Your 3 and your 9 share a common factor of 3. So 3 turns into a 1, 9 turns into 3. So when you multiply straight across, this is just going to give you 3 times x squared plus 8 over x squared times x plus 4. And I know I didn't say this with the last one, but just like with your multiplying and your dividing, I want you to keep it in factored form. So even though there's that 3 in front of the x squared plus 8, keep it in front. Even though there's an x squared in front of that x plus 4, keep it in front. Do not multiply it in. Leave it in factored form. For 7 and 8, you are going to be finding the midpoint from the given pairs, ordered pairs. Remember, your midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. So from number 7, you have negative 3, 5, and 9, negative 7. I'm going to use the negative 3 as x1, 5 as y1, 9 as x2, negative 7 as y2. This is going to give you negative 3 plus 9 over 2, comma, 5 plus negative 7 over 2. Negative 3 plus 9 is 6 over 2. And 5 minus 7 gives you negative 2 over 2. Simplifying both of these, you are left with 3, negative 1. For number 8, you have 12 and negative 6 as one ordered pair, and then the other one is 8, negative 8, 4. So to find our midpoint, we're going to do 12 plus negative 8 divided by 2, comma, negative 6 plus 4 divided by 2. 12 minus 8 is 4 over 2, and negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2 over 2. This simplifies to give you the ordered pair of 2, negative 1. For your next set of questions, you are finding the distance between the given points and writing your answer in simplest radical form. Remember, your distance formula is the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So for example 9, you have the ordered pair of 4, negative 7, and then you have another one that is 10, negative 3. So I'm going to use the 4 as x1, negative 7 as y1, x2 will be 10, y2 will be negative 3. So your distance is going to equal the square root of 10 minus 4 squared plus negative 3 minus negative 7 squared. We simplify this, and we're going to be left with the square root is 6 squared plus 4 squared. That 6 squared is 36. The 4 squared is 16. We add these. The 6 plus 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. So that's the square root of 52. If you're not sure if the square root of 52 simplifies, divide it by 2 since it's an even number. 2 goes into 52, or 2 goes into 5 twice with 1 left over. 2 goes into 12 6 times. 26 is also an even number, so 2 goes into that evenly with 13. Your two 2's pair up, so that means that your distance is 2 square root 13. For example 10, you have the ordered pair P of 6, negative 4, and Q of negative 2, 8. X1 is going to be 6, Y1 is negative 4, X2 will be negative 2, Y2 is going to be 8. So our distance is going to equal the square root of negative 2 minus 6 squared plus 8 minus negative 4 squared. Double negatives turn into a positive, so that gives you the square root of negative 8 squared plus 12 squared. Negative 8 squared is 64. The 12 squared is 144. We add these. The 4 plus 4 is 8. 4 plus 6 is 10. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So that's the square root of 208. 208 is divisible by 4. It goes in 52 times. That 4 is 2 and 2. 52 is 2 and 26. 26 is 2 and 13. 2 2's pair up. 2 other 2's pair up. So that gives us 2 times 2 times the square root of 13, which is just 4 square root 13. For 11 and 12, it's asking you to use the equation of a circle to identify the center and the radius. If you remember, the equation of your circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. Your center is h comma k. and your radius is just the square root of whatever r squared is. So if we look at number 11, we have x plus 5 squared plus y plus 8 squared is equal to 32. So again, if we compare this to x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. In order to find what h is, we have to turn that plus 5 into a minus 5. By doing that, we're going to have x minus negative 5 squared. We've got to do the same thing with that positive 8. So that would turn into y minus negative 8 squared. So from here, you have h, which is negative 5, k, which is negative 8, and r squared is 32. You want to find r, not r squared. So take the square root of both sides, keep it positive. 32 is 4 and 8. 8 is 4 and 2. Those 4's pair up. So that's 4 square root 2. So to give the center, again, that's the ordered pair of h comma k. It's going to be negative 5, negative 8. And your radius is equal to 4 square root 2. For number 12, we have x minus 4 squared plus y minus 9 squared is equal to 9. So again, we're going to compare this to x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. Your h is the 4, your k is the 9, and r squared is 9. So to find r, take the square root of both sides, and you have that r is 3. So your center for this one is the ordered pair 4, 9, and your radius is 3. For your next sections, you're going to use the given information to write the equation of a circle. Again, that equation of a circle is from the last section that we just went over. So x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. In order to write that equation of a circle, you need the center and the radius. These two questions are just giving you the center and the endpoint, so you have to find the radius. Use your distance formula to find your radius. If we look at number 13, you have a center of negative 4, 3, and an endpoint of 2, 9. To find your radius, again, use your distance formula. So your radius is going to equal the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So that means that you are going to have the square root of 2 minus negative 4 squared plus 9 minus 3 squared. The double negatives turn into positives. So that's the square root of 2 plus 4, which is 6 squared, plus 9 minus 3 is 6 squared. The 6 squared is 36. So we're doing 36 plus 36 underneath that radical. 36 plus 36 is 72. So we have the square root of 72 for our radius. If I remember correctly, the question on your quiz is going to ask you for your radius. You need to simplify that fully. So that 72 is 9 and 8. 9 is 3 and 3. 8 is 2 and 4. 4 is 2 and 2. So 2 2's pair up, 2 3's pair up. That means your radius is 6 square root 2. So on the line that's on your quiz that asks for the radius, you're going to put 6 square root 2. However, for the part that asks for the equation of the circle, use the square root of 72 for your radius. So for the equation of a circle, you need your center, which we said in the beginning that was negative 4, 3. And you need your radius, which we said was the square root of 72. The reason why I tell you to use the square root of 72 is because you're going to have to end up squaring that. So it's a lot easier to square that than it is the 6 square root of 2. So use these two things in your equation of a circle in that x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. H, k, r. So x minus negative 4 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to the square root of 72 squared. Double negatives turn into positives, so that's x plus 4 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to the square root and the power have the same index and power, so they cancel each other out to just give you 72. For number 14, you have a center of 7, 1 and an endpoint of 13, 5. So again, use your distance formula to find your radius. We're going to have the square root of 13 minus 7 squared plus 5 minus 1 squared. For your 13 minus 7 underneath that square root, that gives you 6 squared. And the 5 minus 1 is 4 squared. So that's the square root of 36 plus 16. 6 and 6 is 12. 1, 3, and 1 is 5. So that's the square root of 52. 52 is 2 and 26. 26 is 2 and 13. 2 2's pair up. So your radius is 2 square root 13. Use your square root of 52 and the center in your equation of a circle. So your center is 7, 1. Your radius, we're going to use the square root of 52. You're plugging this into x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. H is 7. K is 1, R is that square root of 52. So it's going to give you x minus 7 squared plus y minus 1 squared is equal to the square root of 52 squared. Again, power, same as your index, so the power cancels out the radical, and you're just left with x minus 7 squared plus y minus 1 squared is equal to 52. So your last question is like a bonus question on your review. It is something that you might see on like your midterm or your final, but it's not going to be on your quiz. It tells you that you have two endpoints of the diameter, P negative 4, 6 and Q 2 negative 8. This does not give you your center point. So just like the ones before this, you have to find your radius and the equation of a circle. However, you also have to find the center as well. So use your midpoint to find your center. So your center, I'm going to label as C of x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. So this is going to give us negative 4 plus, let's see what it was, 2 over 2, comma, 6 plus negative 8 over 2. Your 4 plus 2, or sorry, negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2 over 2. Your 6 plus negative 8 is negative 2 over 2. So your center is the ordered pair negative 1, negative 1. So you can use that and one of the original points. Doesn't matter which one it is. I'm going to use P to find my radius. So I'm going to use C, which is negative 1, 1, or sorry, negative 1, negative 1. And I'm going to use P, negative 4, 6. And I'm going to find my radius with these 2 points, which means I'm going to use my distance formula. So the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So this is going to give us the square root of -4 minus -1 squared plus 6 minus -1 squared. Double negatives turn into positives. So that's the square root of -3 squared plus 7 squared. -3 squared is 9. The 7 squared is 49. 9 and 9 is 18. Carry the 1. So your radius is the square root of 58. 58 is an even number. That would give you 2 and 29. 29 is a prime number, so it's not going to simplify any further. So if it did ask you for your radius, you would give the square root of 58. Then if it asks you for the equation of a circle, you are going to use the equation of a circle, which is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. We said our center is -1, -1, and our radius is the square root of 58. So your h is -1, your k is -1. That gives you x minus -1 squared plus y minus -1 squared is equal to the square root of 58 squared. Simplify the double negatives, turn them into positives. That's x plus 1 squared plus y plus 1 squared is equal to 58.